Hey friend, welcome back to the Care Collective podcast. This is a space where we walk with caregivers through every stage of the journey, from the first emergency to the identity shift that comes after loss, and honestly, everything in between. If you're new here, I'm Mikayla, and I started this podcast after working closely with caregivers and seeing just how much people carry when they're supporting someone they love. Today's episode is going to be a short solo episode, and we're going to talk about something that almost every caregiver experiences at some point, especially if you are taking care of an aging loved one, and that is trying to get someone ready in the morning when they're struggling with memory or executive functioning. And maybe you're just trying to get out of the door for a doctor's appointment, and you've already reminded them 3 times to get dressed or brush their teeth, and so you walk into the room and they're still sitting there looking at you like they don't even know where to begin. And it's not because they don't want to do these things. I'm sure that they would do them if they could. And it's not that they're trying to be difficult, but it's because their brain is really having trouble organizing the steps. And if you're experiencing that, this episode is for you. So, one of the things that I think surprises a lot of caregivers is how quickly simple daily routines can become overwhelming for someone experiencing cognitive challenges. Things like brushing teeth, getting dressed, making breakfast, and just leaving the house. These tasks can seem really simple to you, but they actually require a lot of brain functions working together, and that is executive functioning. Now, we will have an episode with an upcoming expert to talk a little bit about that next week. So, if this topic is very timely for you, you'll want to stick around to be able to hear that. But essentially, executive functioning is the brain's ability to plan steps, remember what comes next, start a task, move from one step to another, and then finish that task. When someone experiences things like dementia, a traumatic brain injury, a stroke, ADHD, Parkinson's, or other neurological conditions, these skills can become much, much harder. So when you say something like go brush your teeth, their brain may actually be trying to figure out several steps. Where's the toothbrush? Where's the toothpaste? Do I go to the bathroom first? Wait, what was I supposed to do again? And that's where routines start to break down. And often, I hear from caregivers all the time, I've told them 5 times already, or maybe, you have called them several times and reminded them when you were driving on your way over. And it can feel incredibly frustrating. And something that my therapist even tells me all the time is that when your threshold of anxiety is constantly higher, I wish you could see my hands and how I'm gesturing right now, but when it's higher, these little things that on a normal day would not cause you much stress, once you suddenly are at a higher stress level, you don't have capacity to handle these small things. That's going to push you over the edge. So do not feel like you're crazy if you're getting so upset that they are not ready in the morning and you felt bad, like taking your anger out about it. This is completely normal and human to be able to feel these things. But unfortunately, repeating the instructions often is not going to solve the problem because the issue isn't hearing the instruction, it's organizing the steps required to complete the task. So someone might genuinely want to do this and they genuinely might see that you are frustrated if they can still, understand the emotions you are feeling, but they can't figure out where to begin. So one tool that professionals often recommend in this case is something called a visual routine. This is simply a checklist that uses pictures instead of just words to guide someone through their daily tasks. For example, a picture of a toothbrush for brushing teeth and a picture of their own exact toothbrush on the counter when I say a picture of it. Maybe you take a picture of their shoes for putting on their shoes, or a picture of breakfast for eating breakfast. Maybe you've been doing really good at meal prepping your mom's breakfast every morning, making her some overnight oats or something, and you put it in the refrigerator in a specific container. So take a picture of that and be able to show them, hey, this is what you can grab for breakfast, right? For many people experiencing memory or executive functioning challenges, pictures are easier for the brain to process than verbal instructions. Instead of having someone remember what to do next, this routine is going to show them, and so it removes some of that mental load. Sometimes that small change can make morning routines feel so much smoother for both the caregiver and the person receiving care. Another thing that can really help is adding location cues. For example, instead of saying brush your teeth, a routine might say brush teeth, toothpaste is in the top right drawer, or put on shoes, shoes are by the front door. These small cues can help reduce confusion and decision making, and that's important because decision fatigue can make daily tasks feel even more overwhelming. And don't be afraid to label things as well too. Maybe you do need to go and label, toothpaste in the top right drawer, put that symbol on the drawer, or maybe, you simplify it. You get the basic things that they need to get ready in the morning, and you make sure that it's going to be on their counter, right? And so, after learning more about this and hearing how often caregivers struggle with morning routines, I decided to create something simple that caregivers can use, and it's free. So, please go and download it and use it. So, I created a visual morning routine guide. And so, inside that, you'll find an example morning routine, a customizable Canva template, and instructions for adding your own photos and tips to follow. The idea here is that you can upload pictures of your loved one's actual environment, their bathroom, their toothbrush, their shoes, and create a routine that's familiar and easy for them to follow. Because the more familiar the images are, the easier they will be to recognize. So if that sounds helpful for your situation, you can find the guide linked in the episode description, and you can join our newsletter and we will email it directly to you as well. I also just want to say something important before we wrap up today. If mornings feel chaotic or frustrating sometimes, it does not mean that you are doing something wrong. Caregiving often requires constantly adapting to changes in the person that you love, and sometimes watching that decline in something as simple as their morning routine being difficult for them to do can cause a lot of hard feelings for you. Just know that sometimes these small tools like routines, checklists, or visual cues can make a big difference. It's not going to solve everything, I promise, and please absolutely talk to qualified professionals that can help provide some of the support for you as well. But these kind of routines can create a little bit more structure for you and try to alleviate some of this burden. If this episode was helpful, you might enjoy some of our other conversations here on the Care Collective podcast, where we talk with caregivers, professionals, and advocates about navigating the realities of caregiving. And if you know another caregiver who might benefit from tools like this, feel free to share this episode with them. You never know who might need it. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.